Here's an AMI This Week shortcut with Chris Vallée.
Hello and welcome to Bad Therapy, where we have many therapy discussions, but we are not therapists in the least.
Zaakirah Chubb is an artist who was diagnosed with fibromyalgia 2.5 years ago. Over the last year, they've added podcast hosts to their list of artistic outlets. Tell me, what inspired you to create the podcast?
So, me and my co-host Bethany are conversationalists, and we kind of would just have these styles of conversations where one of us would just be like, I need to rant about this thing and I need to talk about it. And we kind of got to a point where Bethany said, why don't we turn this into a podcast? Plenty of other folks do this type of stuff. Why don't we?
I really need to talk about something that's been affecting me a lot recently. I mean, it's always affected me, but tokenism. It's bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
I think it's something both of us have a lot to say about recently.
yes, oh God.
Our original point, because we were sitting here, we were like, a lot of these podcasts don't tend to reflect people like us, where I've mentioned that, I self-identify as queer, I self-identify as non-binary and trans. My co-host identifies as a person of color, I identify as a person of color. And we were feeling like, we weren't seeing ourselves a lot in the media that we would consume. And so our original point was, this intersectionality, and to bring our voices, even if it's not going to be always talking about those topics, into those spaces. At varying points of my life, I've been like, I cannot call myself an artist or feel that I am an artist because of whatever kind of specific expectations that I'd set upon myself, or other people I'd set upon myself, for what an artist should be doing. We are very much we are not experts on these topics. We are not spokespeople for these communities in any way. But yeah, we just felt like we would like to have our perspectives given on these issues. And so we hope that the message is that, consider perspectives from other folks.
Where did the name Bad Therapy originate?
I guess it kind of originates from whatever topic that we'll talk about. It is something that either we are passionate about, that we really need to discuss, and really need somebody to listen. And we feel sometimes, that can be therapeutic, and sometimes that's maybe what you do in therapy.
In what ways does doing this podcast help you express yourself artistically?
I think I was missing, because a lot of my disciplines, like music and theater, have an interactive audience part. And I think I was missing that a little bit come the pandemic. I had just finished up a play, but then I was also recovering and doing a lot of healthcare for my fibromyalgia. And because I already had kind of this, I already had the tool set of being able to edit and record audio. And so when Bethany suggested that we make this into a podcast, I thought, this is great. I'll still be able to interact with an audience and then be able to use this tool set. And then also, the creation of the structure and concept of the podcast is also artistic.
How do you find content to chat about? Is that a challenge for you, or does it come pretty easily?
A lot of the time, topics will be coming from just lived experience, obviously with a degree of is this going to be okay enough for us to speak in a public manner? Obviously, the pushback is that, art is not essential. It is entertainment. So why should we be giving money to artists? And obviously, it goes back to that societal, art is not worth investing money in.
What are people missing out on, and why should people tune in?
I think that a lot of our conversations and perspectives are going to be really interesting to you. I think that you could also, if you fall into some of the intersections that we do, right? I think that you'll be able to relate to a lot of the conversations that we have. And if you don't, right, I think that it's going to be able to give you a wider perspective of how folks who may sit in our shoes see the world or experience the world, as well as like possibly generate dialogue between you and your friends.
You can check out Bad Therapy at badtherapy.podbean.com. That's badtherapy.podbean.com.